Okay, we are recording. Okay, so for everybody, we are talking about the Iron Shirt Qigong. To spark it off, as always, I like to start with some questions. And my first question, since we're talking about Qigong, what is Qi? You know, anybody just jump out, give me some diverse answers out here.
Energy.
Anybody?
Chi is blood, for one.
Qi is blood. Okay.
Life force.
Life force. Anybody else?
Energy.
I missed that last one.
Energy.
Energy, perfect.
Prana.
Cool. That was prana, I believe.
One of the three treasures.
One of the three treasures. Okay. And as expected, everybody is correct. Life force, prana, chi, energy, absolutely. And you know, I did a lot of research on this. To give some background, this was years ago. I took a Tai Chi class, and the instructor, he was a very good instructor. He talked about his search or his research on what Qigong is. And he said he researched for years. He wrote a book on it, everything. And what he realized in that is that from his research, Qigong is not one particular thing. He said it was all over the place. Some people said it was this, some people said it was that, all types of different things. But what we can agree on, though, is that it is definitely energy related. So what I have, and just kind of putting it together from several different sources, is the subtle vital energy of earth, nature, and universe. You know, real basic and simple. Earth, nature, and universe. With that being said, so when we talk about earth, nature, and universe, we're talking about what they call in the Chinese tradition, heaven chi, which is any of the forces that are beyond us as humans in earth. So I'm saying rain, wind, the influences of the moons and the heavenly bodies, et cetera, and that type of thing. They also have earth chi, which is the things that here on earth that are controlled by the heavens. So plus, in addition to that, you have the earth's magnetic field, but then you have how the rain affects the earth. And that is earth chi. Just that relationship between heaven and earth is earth chi. So how the rains create a river or create a flood, that all has to do with earth chi. And obviously we have what they call in Chinese tradition, man chi, which is obviously the chi that we carry, and also included in that is nature, plants, and animals that have their own chi as well. So that's basic chi. So anybody have any thoughts, any questions real quick on that? I want to make sure that that's real straightforward. So I don't think there's any questions, but I don't want to make any assumptions.
You said it was 4 or 3?
3, what do you mean?
Types of chi.
Oh, I didn't say a
earth,
number.
man, or
Yep, heaven, earth, and man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, earth and man.
Yeah.
And you said heavenly chi is anything beyond our.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're talking about the influence of the sun on the earth, the moon on the earth, the rain, the wind, all those influences that are beyond the earth.
Okay. Yeah. Earth chi is.
Yep. So which I thought was interesting, things that are influenced by the heaven chi. So things that are influenced. So what the wind does to the earth, what the rain does to the earth, and how the rain influences the floods and the water. And so I'm gonna call that erosion. Those type of interactions between heaven and earth. And also included in that is the earth's magnetic field and the inner heat, the heat that comes from the middle of the earth. That's also part of the earth chi.
All right. And then if you could like give me one for man chi, whoa.
Sure, you can just look at our natal energy, our natal chi, what the energy we born with. And you can say, hey, we get that from heaven chi as well.
Okay.
You know, the chi we get from food, and you know, as you know, that's part of the training. I'm sure a lot of you have been exposed to that, but we'll get to that in a second. Yep. So over the time of how the Chinese developed the word chi, it evolved in different characters. So at one point, it was made up of two characters that meant no and fire. And what that means, is somebody has something? Okay. So what that means is when your body is in balance, so when your organs and the energy in your body is in balance, they call that no fire. When it's out of balance, there's fire present. So the word chi was those two characters in Chinese language put together. You know, that was one basis, but over time, as their understanding evolved, they evolved their language. Power is language specific, so they had to evolve with their understanding. So the next derivation came from two Chinese characters that mean air and rice. And I thought that was interesting as well, which, as you know, that's where we get chi from for our bodies. I thought it was interesting as well to note that the focus of the chi evolved more man-focused as opposed to more holistically focused chi. It started evolving to more man-focused. So, but the air and rice obviously referring to how we get chi in our bodies, breathing the air and eating food. Those are the two primary sources of chi in our bodies, along with natal, as we know. Okay, so now that we have a basic understanding of chi, unless anyone has any questions, throw them out now, but I think that's pretty straightforward. We're gonna deal with the word gong or kung, G-O-N-G or K-U-N-G.
Peace, Instructor.
Peace.
This is Q. I did have a question, but I don't know if this is something you're going to tap into later. But amongst the three types of chi, which one do we tap into when it comes to embodying spirit?
That's a part of natal chi. So we pulling that from spirit. And that's our umbilical to, I'm gonna just say, the creator, to the universe. And that's what we tapped in there.
Understood.
Mm-hmm. So to that point, if there is an imbalance, in any one of those, if you're not getting enough air, obviously that's one of the most crucial. You out of here quick. Food, the same thing. And if you don't have a strong, solid spiritual connection and not suckling from that universal umbilical, you are definitely going to have an imbalance in your physical body. So if you're not connected to any one of those, you'll have an imbalance, which obviously leads to sickness, disease, and ultimately death. So moving on to what is Gong? We're talking about Qigong here. So we dealt with Qi, which is primary energy, that vital, subtle energy from the universe and nature. And then we're talking about Gong. So again, same thing. It's all over the place based on the language, because there is no exact translation. So we have to do what they call transliteration on it. So different people translating that word translated differently. So 1 for Gong, I have discipline. 2 is skill. 3 is to gather. And 4 is energy and time. And they are all really all related. There were more, but these are the ones I thought express the idea the best. Again, that's discipline, skill, to gather things, and 4, energy and time. So what does that mean? So when we were putting Qi and Gong together, it is any training or study dealing with Qi, which takes a long time and a lot of effort. That's where you get the idea of Kung Fu from, which is which I've heard it put several different ways, but the one I like is supreme skill.
Instructor, you said it's any training or study dealing with Qi, and then what did you say after that?
Which takes a long time and a lot of effort.
Thank you.
Okay, so and that definition evolved over time as well. So and I have another derivation or a more micro definition, which is the study of Qi circulating in the body. Again, we're becoming more, I guess I'll say egotistical as humans. So over time, it becomes more about the body and not the macro, more about the micro human being as opposed to macro universe. So if it's the study of that, the practice of Qigong is about promoting balance, homeostasis in the body. And when we talk about that, we have to deal with nature in the universe as well. We can't separate from that whole. And ways Qigong does that is obviously through exercises, through meditations, massage, but mostly similar to a kata, like forms and breathing, obviously. And since we're pulling out of Mantak Chia's book, he defined it as, so I looked at several, like a ton of locations, but he defined it for what we're doing, going towards the iron shirt as, let me look at this. What is it? Mantak Chia, the practice of increasing Qi pressure in the body. I'm gonna say that again, the practice of increasing Qi pressure in the body. And Qi pressure is associated with strengthening the organs. I don't want to get too deep because I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit, but it helps to circulate the energy through the body, through breathing. So we'll deal with that in a second. The breathing, the abdominal breathing we do in the dojo is a good example of that, of building that pressure in the body. So here, let me share my screen real quick, because I want to look at this one first. So now, when we're circulating Qi in the body, these are the Meridian Points. Again, since we're talking about a Chinese information, we're looking at the Chinese Meridian Points. And you can see they have 12 primary meridians. And these are just pathways, like energy, like blood circulates through the body, energy flows. And all of these are connected with organs, with glands, and with certain body parts. And I don't want to get too deep. This is not about the meridians, so I don't want to get too deep into the meridians. I just want to get an idea. And also, as we all know, because I'm assuming everyone on this call has watched the chakra videos. Chakra is just the same thing, just from a different modality, a different culture, basically. So with that being said, any questions on those? Because I'm about to transition thoughts. Okay. So where does the iron shirt come from? So in their Chinese tradition, it comes from babies in the womb. So the Taoists believe that while in the womb, babies breathe abdominally, and they also use the microcosmic orbit while they're in the womb. And you can see that when they come out. So it's based on, because they're getting their energy from the umbilical, and their lungs are not fully developed, they have to create that chi pressure with their abdomen. So they're all abdomen, and that abdomen, that chi pressure pulls chi in from the mother's, that connection, that umbilical connected to the mother. And that directly sets up when the child is born, their abdominal breathing. Their lungs are developed now. However, they're still using that abdominal breathing. So now that we're on breathing, we're talking about through the breathing exercises, we increase our vital energy, strengthen our organs, and promote self-healing by increasing that chi pressure that we talked about. And it's like two things. If anybody was in class yesterday, when you get struck in the abdomen, you have to have your body pressurized. If not, that blow will penetrate. That is that process, or that breathing, is the beginning of the iron shirt. So that's what we're teaching you, to pressurize your body to protect your organs. So, and again, it's similar to putting air in your car tires. That's why we use air. So it cushions that blow of the road, and you can ride smoothly and without damaging your car. But you create that pressure in your body, and that pressure also helps with circulation. So does anybody know what moves the lymph around your body?
Is it dry brushing and cold water? I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Anybody else?
Is it your lungs?
No, not directly. Not directly. The lymph doesn't have a circulatory system in that way, not like the blood.
What you said, the lymph?
Lymph, L-Y-M-P-H.
Okay. What is that?
Movement.
Absolutely. Movement, walking around, jumping, running, those type of things, and pressure. That pressure in your body moves that lymph around. And lymph is part of your defense mechanisms in your body. So when you have toxins in your body, that lymph help move those toxins out and take them to a part of your excretory system, whether it's your kidneys to get it out through urine, or your colon to get it out through that way. Yeah. So going back to breathing, so the importance of that chi pressure. That's how Mantak Chia, who wrote the book Iron Shirt, that's how he described what Qigong is. Chi pressure. The basis of it is chi pressure. So that's why we're dealing with it in that way. So now going back to the abdominal breathing. Going back to that abdominal breathing. So we already know that when we inhale, we take in and we want to breathe abdominally, we're relaxing the chest. We're letting that air pass the chest, and we're coming, we want to inflate our whole cavity. This reminded me, doing this research for this, just reading up on this, reminded me of some things that I do that I don't directly teach. So this is great. So breathing air into your abdominal cavity. So it's not just your belly. That's typically how I teach it. Breathe the air into your belly. We are breathing into our whole abdominal cavity. So we are taking a deep breath and expanding our whole rib cage, our abdomen, our sides, and our back. We bring air in all of those places. Increasing that air in abdominal cavity is something else that I do and don't talk about, is the perineum. I'm pulling the energy up from the perineum. Is anybody not clear on what that is or where it's located?
I don't know where it is.
It's basically a point between your genitals and your anus. It's a point there right at the center, and you pulling up from that point. That is a huge, I'm going to call it a leakage of energy. If you're not pulling from there, if it's relaxed and you're creating pressure in your abdomen, you have energy leaking out through your perineum.
Can you spell that? Can you spell perineum?
Yep. P-E-R-I-N-E-U-M. P-E-R-I-N-E-U-M. I believe that's correct. Yep. So we're pulling up from the perineum. We're relaxing our abdomen, and we're pulling that air. We're relaxing our diaphragm, bypassing the chest, and pulling all that air into our stomach to compress, to create pressure. Another side effect of that pressure is, as we know, we talk about it all the time, is using the full capacity of our lungs. When we are heavy chest breathers, we're only using the top 1/3 of our lungs. So what that does is we're chest heavy with it. We're making our lungs work too hard to get oxygen in. And it actually, I found this interesting too in research, is that it actually gives you an energy deficit. You burn more energy breathing than you get from that. So that process consumes more energy than it creates. So have to breathe with the whole lung all the way down into the abdomen, breathing in deep and creating that pressure. So pulling in with the abs, creating that pressure, and then releasing that pressure back up all the way out fully, and pushing on the diaphragm back up, bringing it in, letting the diaphragm sink down. And actually, I have a picture to give everyone a visual of that, I believe. Just if you're not aware of where the diaphragm is, the abdomen, for one, please ask a question. For two, I'm going to drop this picture up real quick. Share, and there we go. Okay. In that top picture, you'll see the two lungs. In the middle is the cavity for the heart. And that thick black line here, oh, yep, there's a picture of it. It says the diaphragm. And that whole abdominal cavity is what we're pressurizing. It also takes pressure off of your heart, because that pressure helps the blood circulate. Takes pressure off of your organs. It pretty much massages them to help them do their job and get rid of toxins that can get in your organs. So everybody's real quiet out there. I'm hoping this is communicating.
May I say
Excellent
about
job,
the diaphragm?
I missed
Yes,
that.
communicating very well.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Say something about the diaphragm.
Yeah. What about the diaphragm, Nate?
When you puncture the diaphragm, like with a knife, it makes it impossible to breathe if you lose pressure.
You kind of broke up, Nate. You said puncture the diaphragm with the knife.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Can you all hear me now?
Oh, it's a lot better.
Okay, good. Yeah, when you puncture the diaphragm with a knife, it makes it impossible to breathe. So you can't actually pressurize your system anymore. So it makes it impossible for your opponent to call out or scream or even mutter. It's a good way to silence somebody.
Noted, Nate. That's good information. Now I'm gonna put that same picture back on the screen. So we're gonna talk about the where'd my picture go? Okay, still there. Now, this picture also shows the bottom picture here. It says figure 1.8 shows the fascial layers. Fascia is membranes. It's like basically a tissue. It's all over the body and it covers all of your organs. It covers all of your muscles. For vegans, cover your ears. For people who eat chicken and have cut up a chicken or even seen one cut up before, you'll notice that it had a membrane around it. That's fascia, and it covers every piece. The whole body is underneath the skin, is everywhere. And the same thing. And if you look at the bottom picture, that's figure 1.8. You can see all of the layers in there. So your skin has about 4 layers of fascia. Fascia and muscle, and more fascia and more muscle, and just the layers. And from there, if you go to the top picture, you will see those are the fascial cavities. So we got fascia around the lungs that it has here, like pleura. Those are fascia around the lungs, and we have the pericardial cavity, which is fascia around the heart cavity. Then we have the whole abdominal cavity. That's one fascial that's encased by fascia as well. So what is the point of fascia? In this case, for iron shirt, for what we're using it for, it is how he put it in the book actually is, it's like putting an egg, a fragile egg, inside a balloon, inside another balloon, inside another balloon, inside another balloon. So it's like centered in 3 or 4 layers of balloons to protect the egg. So you can toss it, you can hit it, and it'll protect that egg. That egg will just bounce around and be safe. So again, that's what's happening when we pressurize the body. We energize those fascial layers, and those fascial layers serve as protection for our organs. So again, if everyone is familiar with getting hit in the stomach in training, that's what's happening. You have to pressurize your body, pressurize your abdomen, make it firm. And in that breath, that's why you have to breathe in and exhale on when you get struck. You are energizing those layers. And another, I guess, positive side effect is you are generating electricity. Our bodies are necessarily electric. So again, checking in again with everybody pretty quiet. Just want to make sure this is communicating. Everybody's still with me.
Still with you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm with you, Instructor.
Doing a great job, brother.
Still with you, Instructor. Still with you.
All right. So now we're moving to, again, this has been all just pretty much background information. So when we're moving towards the iron shirt, we're talking about what is the goal? What's the point? What's the point? And borrowing from Mantak Chia again, he says the goal of their system is to keep our bodies in good condition on the physical plane in order to build and store chi energy for the use at the higher level of the spiritual plane. So I'm gonna say that part again. The goal of the system is to keep our bodies in good condition on the physical plane in order to build and store chi energy for use at higher levels of the spiritual plane. The aim of the human spirit in the spiritual plane is to develop the immortal fetus. This is accomplished in 2 stages. The first stage is concerned with overcoming reincarnation. And the second and final stage concerns educating the immortal fetus towards becoming a full-grown immortal spirit. Any feedback on that? I thought that was pretty deep.
Can you say that again?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. Can you run it back one more time?
Absolutely, absolutely. The goal of the universal system is to keep our bodies in good condition on the physical plane. So you got to take care of your body physically. Because when you're taking care of your body physically, you are storing up chi. Again, that chi energy, that chi pressure for use at the higher level of the spiritual plane. So it's not necessarily for use here, it's use on the next, it's on a spiritual plane. You can utilize it there and not just burning up down here. The aim of that human spirit in the spiritual plane is to develop the immortal fetus. So how I understood that is we are spiritual babies in the macro, in the cosmic picture. We are immortal fetuses. This is accomplished in 2 stages. The first stage is concerned with overcoming reincarnation. And in this, obviously in the Taoist tradition, they believe in reincarnation, meaning when you don't get it right on this trip and you on the next time around, you got to do it again. And you got to keep coming back here until you get it right, till you get the lesson.
That's getting held back spiritually.
Right. and even, and I'm saying not necessarily held back, but hey, maybe you in 1st grade right now, you the immortal fetus, you know, you got to grow up, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. So each time you come in, maybe you stepping it up. And you learning the lessons and you getting more and more, but one day the ultimate goal is graduation.
Hard-headed, but feel like I'm in remedial class.
Brother, I understand.
What are you telling?
The second and final stage concerns with educating that immortal fetus that we talked about towards becoming a full-grown immortal spirit. And again, I think those kind of run concurrent. Overcoming reincarnation and becoming a full-grown immortal spirit. Yeah. What's powerful about that is we are whole and complete beings. So you can't have your physical in optimal condition and your mind and your spirit are basically diseased or sick. It don't work. You won't make it out. Like you said, Paul, you're gonna be held back. and likewise, you can't have your mind impeccable, but your body is depleted and sick. It's gonna weigh down your mind and your spirit. It's gonna be like an anchor weighing it down. And likewise with the spirit and so on. I think everybody get the point. So as whole and complete beings, the goal is to live and function optimally. It's about balance. Again, circling all the way back to it, it's the middle way. To bring it to a martial standpoint, it's like the formula for power. You can't have great point of balance and directional flow and mechanical conditioning. Your point of contact is trash. You don't have optimal power. You can potentially hit someone and hurt them, but you won't be efficient with your power. And that's what we're going for. Same thing with your chi. We want to be efficient with that chi. So we have some for that immortal fetus to take to the higher spiritual plane with us. We don't want to deplete it all. So everybody good with that so far?
You're teaching good, brother.
Okay. So
Still with you, Instructor. Still with you.
Make sure y'all still with me. And okay. So we're getting into the iron shirt a little bit. So let me find, I have a couple points here. Let me pull those out real quick. Okay. So we talked about the purpose. No, we didn't. We didn't talk about the purpose. We talked about the goal. That's the ultimate goal. So we need some bullet points under that ultimate goal, some check down points. So I'm calling it the purpose of the iron shirt. Why do we do it? Why do we care? We understand that the bigger pie in the sky vision, like, okay, like those are ultimate goals, but what are the steps? What's the process? So number one is to learn rootedness. Again, we talked about that again in the dojo, rootedness as opposed to base or foundation, but rootedness. So that rootedness, the Mother Earth energy, yeah, which is essential, again, getting to that spiritual plane. So we're looking at when you are in embracing the tree, for instance, it's about being rooted. If you even think about a tree, and everyone have seen a huge tree before, if you look at how many branches and leaves and everything that's on the tree, there is a mirror image under the ground of the roots. And I say that to say that the higher you want to go, the higher you want to climb, the more you have to be rooted to this Mother Earth energy. We're not disregarding the, I guess you'll say the universal energy that's coming in. So we got universal energy coming in through the crown, but we also can't forget this Mother Earth energy that we're pulling up. Again, it's a balance. It's about that rootedness. Okay, so that's one. Two, we mentioned earlier, creating chi pressure. And that is about developing a relationship with chi. And actually, I think we're gonna do an exercise. I'm a little ad-lib a little bit from my flow here. And we're gonna do an exercise shortly on that. Three, we talked about, again, energizing the fascia. Four, we got increasing your vital energy. Five is strengthening the organs. Have your organs working optimally. And with all that being said, that tree pressure promotes self-healing. When your blood is flowing optimally, when your heart is functioning optimally, when all your organs are functioning optimally, your body heals, and it heals efficiently. And seven, and very powerful, is developing a proper structure. So structure in the sense of something simple as how I'm sitting, how my structure, how my body is aligned. If I'm standing, how I'm standing. If I'm embracing the tree, how my structure is aligned. If I'm in a cover position, how my structure is aligned. And that has a direct influence, as we know, on energy flow. So what that's saying is, if I'm tense, my energy is not flowing. If my muscles are locked up, my energy is not flowing. I need to have them relaxed so that energy can flow.
Instructor, can you get 07 again, please?
Yes, sir. So we got one, we talked about rootedness. Two is chi pressure. And part of chi pressure is developing a relationship with chi. And I'm going to expound on that shortly. 3 is energizing that fascia. And I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm moved to speak about it in this moment. That picture I showed of the fascial layers. So we got a layer of skin, we got a layer of fascia, layer of muscle, another layer of fascia, another layer of muscle, and another layer of fascia. Well, if you know anything about electricity or a battery, if you build a battery, that's how a battery is built. You have alternating plates of conductive and non-conductive materials, or I say more and less conductive materials. And in the interaction in a battery is sitting in a fluid, a liquid for the most part, for wet cell batteries, but dry cells are a little different. But for a wet cell battery, like in your car, it's sitting in a liquid. But in our body, when we move or when we breathe, when we do that abdominal breathing and our stomach is coming out and in, or our abdomen, I should say, to be more accurate, it's going out and in, we are literally generating electricity, which is feeding our chi throughout our body. So again, so that was 3, energizes the fascia. 4 is increasing vital energy. And that is one way we increase vital energy. We increase vital energy as well through chi pressure. 5, and that strengthens the organs. And 6, promotes self-healing. And 7, proper structure. And proper structure lends itself to all those things. Energy flow and rootedness. Matter of fact, I'm going to take this moment as well to talk about, actually, I'm going to put it out to the group. How do I want to pose this question? Considering structure, is there a relationship between structure and emotional state? I know I mentioned it before between structure and energy flow, but what about emotional state? And if so, what is that, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Energy is the building block of everything, including thought, and thought becomes tangible, or it becomes concrete in the body, whether positively charged or negatively charged, and the result follows that as well. So a positively charged thought creates perhaps a habit or a pattern in the human, and the result of like, let's say, good or clean and efficient eating or exercise, and then the result is physically tangible, and the same holds true for the inverse.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Sleep, we don't get that energy. You not, you know how it is when you don't get no sleep. You ain't right. So we not charging that body. We not charging that energy on the physical or the subconscious plane. We not resting. We can physically, we gonna get tired mentally, physically. We're not gonna be thinking right. We're not gonna be as sharp as we normally would. So our energy is gonna be off right there because we're not recharging like that battery, because we are batteries.
Okay.
Let me have a quick interjection real fast. So this not just for you, Jeremiah, but everybody. So when you speak from the first person, because like what you said doesn't necessarily apply to everybody. So saying we XYZ is a misnomer. So speak in the first person. So when I don't get rest, I feel tired, et cetera, like personalize it, not generalize it.
Okay. Peace. Understood, brother.
No, that was a great segue, because I was thinking that, because I'm thinking like, okay, I'm functioning fine right now. I ain't really had no sleep last night. So I'm functioning, I'm moving. So I don't want to create that. So my literal thought was, boy, I don't want your language to infiltrate my brain, because it would literally shut me down in this moment, because I haven't really had any sleep. So to Instructor Keith's point, yeah, first person. Good stuff though. Anybody else on structure?
Yeah, do you mind repeating the question? I just want to make sure like I actually can give feedback correctly.
Okay.
In regard to what you just said.
Yeah. So my question was, how does body structure affect your emotional state? And does it? And if so, how? What does that look like?
Okay. I just want to kind of piggyback on when you were talking about the fascia and how there's many layers to it. And this is just from my own personal experience from going to school and learning about the body and energy work, etc. Something that I noticed in general in regards to our state of being when we are out of alignment, or if let's say our posture is thrown off, there's so many muscles that are built up. There's deep muscles, you have the superficial muscles, and we hold our energy in the muscles like you had stated. And so we hold a lot of memory in those muscles as well. So those things, they build up. It causes inflammation in different areas. You know what I'm saying? Like it just creates a sense of imbalance within ourselves, and it starts to show up on our physical body, mainly storing in our tissue, or it stores in our muscles, and it restricts, it can restrict anybody from moving forward or going where they need to go. That's really all I pretty much wanted to share on that, because like I said, I went to school for myomycology, and we talk heavily about the muscles. And one thing I learned is that people store a lot in those muscles. I can definitely say for myself, being on my own journey, getting body work done, and seeing the change in my behavior, or seeing the change in my own spiritual self, it definitely does work when you actually decide to dedicate yourself to the type of discipline that's needed for the journey. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good point. To that point, and actually we were having a discussion in the dojo the other day about that, about storing emotions in your muscles. So massage can be emotional. You can have an emotional release getting a massage. You might not even know why, but you'll get emotional, you'll cry. And also stretching or doing yoga, that can happen as well, because you start releasing those tensions. So like, am I pronouncing this correctly? Nuru?
Yes.
Okay. Like she stated, absolutely, that emotion can get in your muscles. Yeah. Anyone else on that?
I was thinking about it from like the opposite way, that your emotional state could affect your body structure.
Absolutely.
You could block, saying it because I'm talking based on myself from having emotional issues that like may cause me not to eat right, or what's called binge eating or emotional eating, and not wanting to exercise or whatever I need to do to get that movement going, and that in turn affects my meditation and being able to see things clearly or think clearly. So it could go both ways. So I believe working on them both at the same time is beneficial.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good point. So another point I thought about was when you mentioned, Teresa, the opposite way, meaning when I'm in an emotional state, how is my body structure?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Is like just general body language. Like,
Yeah.
you know, as a child, I was told like, you know, you hold your head up and like you don't. It's certain body language where people gonna read if you sad. People gonna read like how you feel based on your body language, and like that's how people approach you. People say sometimes like, oh, like she or he is not approachable based on how their body language is.
Yep. And to your point, what does that say about their emotional state? You know, are they depressed? And what is the body structure of a depressed person look like? So I wanted to bring this up because it's a two-way street. Since we're talking about body structure and energy flow. So when I'm emotionally depressed, my body looks depressed. So I might be like crumpled down or whatever. I don't know if anybody can see that, or even if they have their screens on, but I'm depressed and I'm like all down. And even if I'm still emotionally depressed, what would happen to my energy if I just, like Aisha said, straighten my back and lift my head up? And what does that do for my emotional state just by changing my body structure? So I'm saying there is a relationship going both ways. So obviously your emotional state affects your body structure, but can your body structure affect your emotional state? I'm saying yes. Even a matter of fact, let's put it in martial terms. Let me see how I can do this. Let me see if this will show on the camera here. Yeah, I am, okay, you can kind of see that. If I am in a cover position, but I'm like this, what is that saying about me, about my emotional state?
You in fear?
You don't want no fear.
But think about going beyond fear. What is my emotional state?
And you're not prepared for something.
I'm a victim. I'm already defeated.
Yes, sir.
I'm defeated. You know what that reminds me of? The cover positions in other arts. That's what that reminds me of. So being that even when you're not in that emotional state, but your body structure is like this, what is that doing to your emotional state as a martial artist?
Causing angst.
Oh yeah.
Gamma, beta.
It puts you in a whole other state of mind, a state of being, because I'm in an interaction. You know, I'm getting into something, and what does that do to me when I'm sideways and I'm thinking like defend myself and protection and all these safety things that honestly don't belong in a fight.
It definitely puts you behind.
Absolutely.
I was to veg you back on that. It looked like had you turned that right shoulder, you was gonna run.
You about right. You about right. That's hilarious.
Instructor.
Yes, sir.
Can I share something about posture that happened to me?
Absolutely.
As a youngster, I used to catch the bus home from school, and every day on my way from the bus stop to the house, which is straight down the street, I would walk with my head down, looking at my shadow on the concrete, until one day the spirit told me, I can't remember the exact phrase, but the bottom line, either it posed it to me as a question or it gave me a really clear directive. But the result was from that day forward, I held my head up and I walked with my head held high because I realized that I was, to your point of being constricted and closed in, I was walking with my head, literally with my head to the ground, looking at my shadow. And that day changed my life. And it changed by changing my posture, it changed my whole demeanor and my outlook on life and how I carry myself.
Powerful.
you know, and I can kind of give a little feedback if you guys can hear me okay. I went to the chiropractor not too long ago, and just because they were giving free x-rays and so forth. And what you guys are speaking of, man, it's the exact same thing that they kind of preach. If your spine is out of line, you can't get the nutrients coming up through the spinal cord and get those nutrients because everything is clogged up. The last brother here spoke about having his head down. And if you think about it, people on these phones all the time, it's a lot of us probably looking down right now, bending your neck down. And it's not the right function of your C-spine. You know, you're supposed to have your head up so all of the blood and the nutrients have to be able to go through that spine. And the disc spaces, everything has to be aligned up. And it's no question, everything you're saying today is hitting it on the head. And I felt so much better when they kind of cracked my C-spine. You know, my sinuses became open a little bit better, and I felt better getting out of bed. So yeah, everything you're saying right here, you definitely have to have that structure, and it has to be aligned. That is so critical. And I'm glad that I'm hearing you say this, because it's piggybacking on my chiropractic experiences, which I never thought I would go to a chiropractor.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad you brought that up too. That's something I didn't think about in that process. And another thing to follow up on when you mentioned a part of this iron shirt process is the craniosacral pump. So what that's about is you have cerebrospinal fluid that's around your spine and around your brain. And the pump to move that is your sacrum at the bottom, moving that cerebrospinal fluid up your spine into your cranial cavity and back down. But what moves it back down is your cranium. So we all know we have cranial plates. So when you're a baby, you know, everybody know you got a soft spot in the middle of your head, but you have like 4 or 5 different, I'm not sure how many. I'm not sure if somebody can help me out with the exact number. How many bones in your cranium? But as you develop, that's so you can make it through the birth canal, you know, intact, you know, because your cranial bones move. So when they start to solidify, they never fully solidify. They move. So when they move, that pumps the cerebral spinal fluid back down. So a part of this chi pressure is to help that process as well. We're helping the sacrum as well as creating pressure and helping the cranium pump that cerebral spinal fluid that Mr. Rogers still spoke of is so important. Everybody good with that? I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the cerebral spinal or the craniosacral process.
Now we are now.
Okay, making sure you got it.
May I add something real quick?
Absolutely.
In blindfold training, I was taught when I hold my head up, it heightens my sensitivity. You can feel more through the etheric or the intuition.
Nice.
On a more height.
That's nice. Everybody taking notes on that one? Those of you who are working on blindfold right now. That's good info, Nate. So what I want to do with that, part of this process, when we talked about creating chi pressure, is developing a relationship with chi. So I'm putting it out to everyone who can and cannot feel energy. So if you just talking about your hands or you're aligning your hands, can you feel that energy flow between your hands or in your fingers and fingertips, or have felt it before? Yay or nay?
I struggle with it, so I'll say I don't.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can feel it.
Okay.
What was the question?
Can you feel energy in your body?
I felt energy, like rubbing my hands together really fast. And then I've done it in, like I'm playing ball, and I could throw it from one hand to the other, back to the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it to my son, and he just freaked out.
and we're doing something similar today. So just for people who has never felt it before, just to feel that energy in your hands and recognize it, because I imagine everyone has felt it, but might not have recognized it as the energy flowing in their hands or in their body. So all we don't do good, very simple. Well, to back up a little bit, in the iron shirt process, we've only talked about embracing the tree. We've only talked about the embracing the tree exercise, but there's a total of 8 exercises for the iron shirt. And embracing the tree is just one of them. So another one is, and the name in this moment escapes me, but pretty much what it is literally hitting your body to develop a relationship with chi, with energy in your body. Couple things happen. For one, just like Teresa mentioned, you start feeling energized. You know, you'll feel your arm getting energized. You'll get that little tingle because energy is going to those areas. It's increasing the energy flow. So, and that increases your awareness and relationship of the chi. So that's one aspect. And two, your bones, this is something else new I learned during this research process, is that your bones are piezoelectric. And what that means is when you squeeze them, they create electricity. So that's what we're going to do for everybody. So you can either tap on your arms, or you can literally just clap your hands together, rub them a little bit, and then separate them. And get aware, get present to the energy flow between your fingers, between your palms. And you know, shout out when you you know, your experience if you feel so, especially if you've never felt the energy flow before.
Instructor, can you describe what you feel? Like, is it like a, I don't know, staticky type feeling?
Yeah, I'll call it a tingle. And the more I sit here and the more I focus on that feeling and that connection between my hands, it almost feels like I have a ball or something between my hands. I feel almost pressure. Not quite pressure, but I'll coin a new term called energetic pressure.
I feel a wee bit of resistance between them. It's almost like it's a contrast between them wanting to draw closer to each other, but the closer they get, it's a slight resistance. It's clearly something in between the two. That energy is there.
I got the same feeling. It's like my fingertips is kind of trying to come together, like literally trying, but it's like the rest of my fingers are like a ball of some sort. But it's only after I rub them together and clap. Like I don't know, like a magnet. You trying to push two magnets together, you get like that. I guess that word is perfect resistance. I'm all right. That's deep. Yeah, that's deep.
Cool.
Stop cussing on this line, Bread.
Right, Bread Hampton. I love it.
I had to point out the T word, and like it's like I know I was cussing, but I wanted to point out the point. But no more cursing. I will stop.
You know, I find this incredibly fascinating. I discovered at one point there are ways you can hold your hands up in front of you when you meditate, and you can breathe through it. and you're like breathing into that energy field, and it can actually pull it through you, and you can get all kinds of different experiences from it.
I have to experiment with that one, Nate. That's good stuff. Okay. So I don't have much more. Any questions or comments to this point? The only other thing I'm gonna talk about briefly is the microcosmic orbit.
May I talk about the iron shirt a little bit?
Absolutely.
This class has actually been very helpful. It's given me a lot of information. It's made sense of a lot of experiences I've had. For example, I have a friend that we always used to call Iron Forearm Mike. And I asked him about his nickname one day, and he said he used to train under Master Tai in California. And his master could actually put his hand in front of your chest, and then you'd feel the heat from it, and he'd push you and then pull you without actually like touching you at all. And Mike was like these huge forearms, they were massive. And he said he used to beat his arms with pipes all the time to like stimulate that energy and growth. And then like he can break baseball bats with blocks. He can actually grab your arms and just crush your bones with his grip because he can put all that energy there. He's developed it with, you know, that and also like finger flicks. So load up his fingers and actually flick them. And it actually will draw that energy, that chi through there. And it is powerful. You can do it in a lot of different positions. It'll begin to develop that relationship with chi. And that iron style, there's been martial artists in the past that have taken it to all kinds of different angles, like iron heels or iron toes, iron fingertips, you know, like Instructor, I swear to God, he's got iron fingertips. He just touches you and you're like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, what that brought to mind for me, Nate, is make sure your maneuver is impeccable. Make sure that maneuver is right. You run
when maneuvering fiery hot rods that are glowing hot in the dark, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, can everyone see that okay? Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Instructor.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I accidentally switch. Yep, so
Yes, Instructor.
yep. So something you guys are pretty familiar with is the microcosmic orbit. And what it is, and this sheet says cosmic orbit. So let me differentiate. We call it the microcosmic orbit because it's in you. So macro would be on the earth is spinning. That's the orbit. It's revolving around the sun. And, and the whole, actually, I'll say the whole solar system is revolving around the sun. It's macro again. So, and our solar system is, our sun and solar system is moving around the Milky Way galaxy. And I suspect, I don't have the data on this, I suspect the Milky Way is revolving around something else. Probably infinitely. So this is the microcosmic orbit. So this is the orbit, the energy flow around our body. So, and if you can look on the left or the front of the body, you see what they call the functional channel. The functional channel goes up the front of the body. So it starts at the perineum. Is Terrence, you still out there? Where's the perineum? This pop quiz.
You said the perineum.
Yep.
Oh, that's the area in between the front and back sexual organ.
Okay.
In between the genitals and the anus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people call it the gooch.
That's hilarious. Say the gooch. Okay. Uh-oh.
Wait, man, the gooch was off of different strokes, bro.
Yeah. So we starting at the perineum and going towards the front. So you see it's from the perineum going forward, the black dots, the ovary sperm palace. From up from there, we're at the navel. And the ovary sperm palace will correspond with the sacral. With the sacral. The perineum is going to correspond with the root chakra. Okay, then we have the navel or spleen, and then up from there, solar plexus. Yeah. Up from there, the heart chakra. And on this sheet, it talks about what gland, being this is this Qigong is connected to Chinese medicine. So it's connected to their meridian system. So it's talking about what gland is connected with. So the heart chakra, and then up from there, the throat chakra. And the functional channel, which goes in the front of the body, stops at the tip of the tongue. So from the tip of the tongue to the perineum. That's the functional channel or the front of the body channel. Now, two, we have the governor channel, which is in the rear, and it also starts at the perineum, going up the back to the coccyx. You know, from there going up again. Yeah. Which is opposing the navel. And I have my notes said between L2 and L3. Then up from there, we have T11, which is opposite the solar plexus. And the next point up is opposite the heart. Next point up is opposite the throat chakra. And then we're going up from there. We at the base of the skull, and that's the craniosacral pump. I'm sorry, the cranial pump. And we already talked about the coccyx, which is the sacral pump. From there, we got the crown. This is all part of the rear or governor channel. So that's the crown. And then going to the third eye. And that stops at the roof of the mouth. Now, what we do is to complete this circuit, we got two sides of a circuit here. To complete that circuit, we take the tip of our tongue to the roof of our mouth, just behind the teeth. It'll complete that circuit and to create that flow. So just like we talked about earlier with the baby, when it's in the womb, it's pulling in through the umbilical at the navel. When we do the breathing and we breathing in, the abdominal breathing, we pulling it, the abdominal all the way to the navel. And from there, we going down. We hitting all these points going down. Perineum, coccyx. And then we going to the backside of the navel, then T11, and then the backside of the heart, and coming all the way back around to the roof of the mouth and keeping that tongue touching the roof of the mouth, creating that cycle, creating that circuit with the breath. And this is the first stage, one of the first stages of putting on the iron shirt. I know we went over that pretty quickly. Any questions about that? Boy, you guys make me think I did a great job.
You did.
Good job, brother.
You did.
Great job.
Yes, sir.
No questions, boy. Okay, I just put up another picture. I wanted to show that first one first of sitting, and this is a color one with a little more detail on it. same points, but now we got the red. You can clearly see the governor channel in the rear, starting at the perineum, going up in red, coming around to the third eye. And the functional channel in the front, coming from that roof of the mouth, functional channel coming from the tip of the tongue, connected to the roof of the mouth, completing that circuit, going all the way back down to the perineum. And it's circling, that energy is circling.
Instructor, what if the microcosmic orbit that we got was inverted?
What do you mean, circling the other direction?
Yes, sir.
It's not bad. I'm not sure the effects. He talked about it very briefly in the book, but he didn't go into depth about about the change of direction. But he did say you can reverse the direction. I'm not sure the benefits or detriment of doing that.
For me, this is inverse. This would be reverse direction. Looking at this diagram, even the starting point. And so I've sat here as I looked at it and listened to you and work to complete the cycle in this direction. It's gonna take some work. I'm used to the other flow.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only done it this way. I've only come up the spine. So I'm not sure. Some things that doing this that I noticed that help a lot for me, especially on the back, the points on the back. And I like this the picture I have on the screen now, because it really breaks down the what vertebrae. We got the coccyx, of course, then we got L2, L3, and then coming up we got T11, then we got T5, then C7, then C1, and they got the crown. So yeah, I like that explicit locations for those points. But I say all that to say, when I would do this, I would touch these points, literally push my fingernail in a point on my back, push my fingernail in a couple different spots. So when I'm cycling that chi, I can hit those points where my fingernail was. I can still feel it, and I can hit those points, and I can keep going around and keep circulating that chi. So I really get a sense of where that point is, what area I'm going through, and what area I'm energizing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any of the instructors have anything to add on this? Because this is pretty much all I have. I'm going to glance at my notes, see if I missed anything.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, looking at the diaphragm, the lower spine door of life.
Yep.
Okay, what if the spine, okay, well, talking about me, my lower back is curved. I have scoliosis, so I have the rods clamped to my spine. And if that's not aligned, where do I begin to align it, or what type of work should be done to maybe compensate for that? If anybody would know that.
Couple of questions. I know you have the rods, right? So do the rods straighten your spine? Do they function like they should?
Yes, but I'm not flexible at all. They don't flex. It's just straight.
Okay.
I can't. They don't flex at all.
Okay. So I think that's okay. My suggestion is work with where you are. So you work this process and you send an energy in there, and the energy would do the work. Your body is so fantastic. that it will do what it needs to do, and it will find a way. But it's inherent on you to actually do that work. And maybe, I mean, I don't want to even put this out there, but yeah, I'm gonna just say, do the work. It's about doing the work and getting energy to those points, and letting it go through your spine.
Okay.
It will probably help. I'm saying it will help the process. It will help heal what's going on in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has any other feedback for the Kenya.
You hit it, and then CJ hit it in the chat. The bottom line is the energy will find its way, you know, and this goes back to our metaphysical practices. It's beyond the physical, and just purely your intention will direct that energy accordingly, and you'll be able to get the benefits that you need out of it, sis.
Oh, this is what I missed. If everyone can see this picture. So we talked about connecting that circuit from the functional channel in the front to the governor channel in the back. And we connected with the tongue to the roof of the mouth. This is another thing the Taoists believe, that babies in the womb and newborns still do that. If you can see this picture with the baby with the tongue to the roof of the mouth, and I can reflect and I can recall seeing babies do this. And I never put it together. I never understood what it was at that time. So they say these practices came from babies. That's where the inspiration came from. So I'm gonna pull this off, and that is all I have for today. We're gonna roll back into this, a second portion of this next week, and really get more into the iron shirt. If you guys realize, this was all preliminary background information regarding the iron shirt. And I do want to read what he has in the book of a summary of benefits, and that'll be it. So one is strengthening and alter a weak structure into a strong one so that the chi can flow easily throughout the body and provide room for organs to grow within the body structure. And we kind of tapped on that. Two is develop a chi belt, the major point of connection between upper and lower energy channels. Without proper structural alignment, the chi energy will be lost. Okay, three, detoxify and exercise the organs and glands in order to charge and pack the chi in them, to serve as cushioning to surround and protect the organs and glands, and to fill the cavity of the body with chi pressure. Four, increase chi storage between the fascial sheets. Now, remember, we talked about those fascial layers in the body being like, and in certain places anyway, being like batteries. Increase chi storage between the fascial sheets. Open the fascia to serve as chi storage areas of the body, replacing fat previously stored there, and understand the function of the fascial layers as cushions around the body that protect the vital organs. That's another thing he mentioned in the book that I didn't mention earlier, is that doing these abdominal breathings were served to burn up fat. Fat resists chi. I'll say it's an insulator. Or if you're looking at, it's not a conductor in the sense of electricity, it's an insulator. So it's not a conductor. So it blocks the flow of chi. And when you do these breathings, it burns that fat and replaces it. Once the fat is gone, I'll say the chi can flow in the fascial layers and the muscle layers more freely. Number 5, condense life force energy into a ball, enabling practitioners to control their chi so that the chi will not scatter around the body and leak out of the system. 6, root down and become one with the earth, passing the body's force down to the earth without obstruction, and then to pump the earth's force back into the structure and counteract outside forces with the assistance of Earth's energy. And 7, generate an easily flowing chi through the meridians of the body and transform chi to a higher octane to serve as nourishment for the soul and spirit body. So y'all know what y'all getting into now.
Instructor, you gonna pick these 7 up next week?
Yep, I'm gonna recap. I'm gonna recap on a lot of that, and we're gonna flow from there into the actual iron shirt practices. We'll talk about a breathing practice and get into the embracing the tree form a little bit.
Can you babysit me? I didn't realize you were listing them off until you got to number 4. Can you give me 1, 2, and 3 again, please?
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3. So we got 1, strengthen and alter a weak structure into a strong one that chi can flow easily throughout the body and provide room for organs to grow within the body structure. 2, develop a chi belt, the major point of connection between upper and lower channels, without which proper structural alignment and chi energy will be lost. 3, detoxify and exercise the organs and glands in order to charge and pack the chi in them, to serve as cushioning, to surround and protect the organs and glands, and to fill the cavity of the body with chi pressure. Matter of fact, I got a question. Matter of fact, Keith, I'm not sure if you're aware, if you know this. He talked about the optimal pressure for the body, and I don't recall what that number is. Do you happen to remember that?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, so I'll have it for next time. You know, he had a number for pounds per square inch. Going off memory, I was thinking it was around 14, but I am not positive. But I'll have that for next time. So we'll run down the list to see if anyone has any commentary for us. Okay, Mr. Infinite, what you got for us?
Okay, I couldn't get you unmuted.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't have any commentary. This is awesome. I think it was an awesome class. You explained it very well. So I don't really have any. I don't have any input on it, instructor.
Okay.
But everything was on point and very, very thorough. So thank you.
Okay. Yep.
I couldn't get you off mute because I was telling my daughter good night at the same time. She tried to make me kiss teddy bears and unicorns. So
I understand, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Emerson.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say that it was a great presentation. I appreciate the time and effort you took to do that kind of research, to present that information in a way we can actually understand it. You had the slide thing going, and that was very helpful. So it was a great subject matter, and you delivered everything that you got us. You got us. It was a great one.
All right, appreciate that. Nuru.
Yes. No, tonight's class was definitely on point. It's definitely what was really needed. I don't really have any questions for real because, like I said, I have kind of learned something very similar to what you are sharing. It's just, like you said, a lot of studies come with their own names and have their own set, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm like in the middle of feeding, so it's like, it's so much going on right here with me. But I definitely appreciated tonight's class, just overall. It was awesome.
Okay, awesome. If you don't mind me asking, what modalities have you learned?
Well, I learned a little bit of shiatsu and Thai.
Okay.
Like I said, this is just not martial arts, but I actually study myomassology. So that's just one of the modalities that I do incorporate in my practice, if you will.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeremiah.
Great class. Great class. A lot of notes. I know, and I gotta get a new notebook now. Thank you. So, yeah, good class. I still missed some stuff, so I gotta go back and watch the recording and catch some stuff. So, yeah, great.
Okay, Brad Hampton.
Beautiful class. I don't have no commentary like everybody else. I will say that I was challenged when you spoke about posture. I was leaning down this entire class, and as soon as you said posture, I immediately just sat up. So challenge accepted. I know where I have to improve outside of the physical space and just in my everyday life, just working on my posture. The way that I sit, the way that I walk. When Instructor Aku, speaking about walking with his head down and having to eventually walk with his head up. So those spoke to me outside of the notes that I took. I took a lot of notes. Beautiful class. Thank you for your time.
Oh, yes, sir. Appreciate you joining. Okay, we got Chanel.
Good class. I learned a lot. I learned that the bones are piezoelectric. I did not know that. I knew that saying was, but learning that bones were was interesting. I also learned the importance of iron shirt, qigong, and embracing the tree and things of that nature on a spiritual level, because sometimes y'all have us do stuff and I just feel like they like suffering because they feel like it makes us stronger warriors. So relating that not just on a physical level, but seeing how that ties into our purpose and our spiritual development was very important for me. So I really appreciate the class tonight. Great job.
Thank you. Paul.
Peace. Thank you, instructor, for a great lecture. Thank you for taking the initiative and time to prepare all of this research and information for us as succinctly and masterfully as you have. Is greatly appreciated. I am working to throttle my eagerness to get further into this lecture series. As you know, breathing in still meditation is not my challenge. My challenge is employing what is being presented in movement, and there's been a thorn in my heel that I'm really eager to remove for some time now. So I'm all ears with this right now. Really soaking it up and looking to employ this in movement. I want to. I feel like that is my that's among other things. This may be the main physical barrier that I'm pushing back. I'm pushing this wall back consistently, but I'm ready to knock that boy down. I think it's going to unlock a level of performance that my ego wants to see. So a few battlefronts here, but I'm really excited about what this lecture series is going to afford me. So thank you for this.
Okay, absolutely. Appreciate you. Gigi. Okay, we're gonna jump past Gigi and go to Javion.
Hey, peace, instructor. Great class. Really just touching on earlier. I had an experience with Instructor Aku yesterday in our exchange with breathing in the diaphragm, expanding it, and for the first time I experienced, like, I don't want to call it pain, but discomfort afterwards from just the deep breaths and maintaining that energy throughout the body. So just looking forward to this continued conversation, as well as releasing tension too. I realized tension kind of clouds the mind as well as the body. So yeah, great class. Appreciate it.
Okay, appreciate you. Hero.
Peace, instructor.
Peace.
Thank you very much for the class this evening. It was very instructive. You just share so much. Y'all share so much like advanced information in such a casual way that I really appreciate it. I just wanted to touch again on the subtle force, what you talked about in the very beginning about chi being the subtle force of earth, nature, and the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking up the word subtle just for further definition. And what came up is that subtle means so slight as to be difficult to detect, difficult to understand, and operating in a subtle way. And like I said, you just shared so much advanced information about something that is supposedly a difficult to understand topic and difficult to, kind of get touch with. Even the exercise that you gave, allowed all of us to, get a feel for how that energy, interacts even, just in our hands. So, I really appreciate the class, and I too am looking forward to going further with this. It's like the brother said, I'm very anxious to, continue to moving forward, but I also appreciate that you've taken the time to lay down so much foundational information about this so that we can move forward with it. So that's pretty much what I have.
Okay, appreciate it. Kim.
Peace, family. Today was a lot to take in. It was a very good class, so thank you, instructor. I actually immediately went and bought the iron shirt, so I don't feel like I'm behind or like this is Spanish and not English for me. So I did buy the book because I was procrastinating, but it definitely opened up a lot for me as well, as far as like the breathing. And I also was like looking down the entire time, and it immediately brought to my attention like that's how I operate on the daily basis. Like I normally have my head down, normally my back is not straight. I've had a problem with that since I was a kid, which I've been working through, but I normally am always tense and tight and with my shoulders down, head down, which obviously from the lesson today, I see it doesn't serve me at all. So I need to be more cognitive of my body language and what I'm actually doing to myself. And I also had the same experience like Javion had recently during the blindfold training, that I experienced abdominal pain from focusing on the breathing so much, which I shared that with Instructor Ghost after class that day, which was interesting to me. I never felt that pain before, just focusing on the breath. So this all is just, it's a lot to take in. It's definitely very interesting, and it brings a lot of attention to how I function on the daily basis. So thank you, and I definitely look forward to this series.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, Kenyatta.
I knew I was coming up at some point. I just want to say, peace to everybody and peace, instructor. I came a little bit later because I was still in my class, but just from the point that I was able to catch on, it's interesting because we've been so indoctrinated in the chi path, and I'm almost robotic with it. Like that's just what I know, and I just thought that I just knew that that's just what it was. I never envisioned a chi belt like that. That sort of messed me up a little bit, like, and I was like, dang, and then furthermore, I see, and it's always been necessary for us to have proper posture. Chakra from the standpoint of aligning our chakras to maximize power, and then also just physically. But then, just taking us like deeper into that whole piece, how we're like able to, store energy in our chakras, and just the importance of, keeping our, just the whole idea of detoxifying. It's a lot there, but I'm excited about it though, because I was just kind of wondering, like, man, like nobody ever mentioned the doggone chi belt, and and I know it's levels. Y'all say this all the time, like it's levels to this thing, but I'm excited to learn more about it, because hopefully I'll be able to grow in my ability to manage my energy, as I'm employing meditation on the floor, and so, I mean, this is all an extension of letting go and allowing, the energy to flow through you and court power. And so, I'm excited to grow in that. And I didn't care, if it was going to be the 10 o'clock, I was not going to miss this day, So I appreciate you. And I'm also looking forward to going back through the recording to get the part of the lecture that I missed. But for what I got, it was amazing. I'm inspired, man. And thank you. Thank you, Chuck.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Kemet.
Hey, peace.
Peace.
Thank you. I didn't know you were leading today's class, so thank you for your structure, your order. I too am looking forward to maybe the growth. I see you, the growth of the next class. What stuck out to me was I keep sitting with that phrase, increase chi pressure. Increase chi pressure. That's a big one that I feel like I'm I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put in my inventory. I appreciate it, Sister. Is it Noru? Noru? That's another visual of action that I've been, kind of circulating in myself about the value of how I need to massage myself more, you stretch more with the intent that, any held up energy blockages is simply in my hamstring, or it's simply in my shin down there. And since I don't touch it that much, I ain't gave myself enough due diligence to, be present enough to intent to release the blocked energy to increase the pressure of, chi I can circulate at any given moment. I appreciate when any instructors, but I appreciate when y'all tie it back to nature. And I think Brother Hero was talking about that, a similar vibe when you relate it back to nature and the unseen forces, and it's just real simple. I like when it just breaks down into the simple vastness that we all adhere to. Another thing, I appreciated that the practice of when you told us to just rub our hands together. It was just nice seeing that in the space. I felt like I did that a few days ago, and it was nice. So just and it's something very simple, but to the point, and it helps anybody just kind of see the energy that's present in any given moment. What else? And also the noted mention about how everything comes from babies. I say to that sister Tuna and her baby, and I just kept thinking about babies and how to honor that space, and like working with babies and bringing babies into the world is, it just makes me wanna. It makes me feel more accessing of the simple things, the quietude, the deep belly breaths. Every time y'all talk about diaphragm breathing, and you were talking about the back, not just the diaphragm or the dantian or just the belly, just everything right there. And even that picture, I appreciate the picture, just seeing the baby with the crying with the tongue to the roof of their mouth. So I'm just grateful. I'm inspired a lot, and I'm thankful. And thank you, instructor.
All right, Shay, appreciate it.
Okay.
LaKenya.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace to everybody.
Peace, sis.
Peace. This was a beautiful class, and I'm glad I made it in today. What I've learned, well, I'm looking at everything with new eyes, new ears, and just really grateful for being in the space that I'm in, and sharing it with everybody. We're all experiencing the same thing in different ways. And I'm just grateful that I'm not alone. And one thing that I have learned, when you posture, that's one of my biggest things. That's one of the biggest things I've always had to work on. And one of my biggest challenges and fears was the fear of pain, the fear of feeling it and doing my best to run away from it. But you can't, I mean, you cannot run away from pain. It just constantly increased itself. And I take it, drag it wherever I go. Afraid of getting hit, afraid of uh, moving past it. And I don't feel that pain anymore. I don't feel that fear anymore. The majority of, I realize that I've done it to myself. And I finally feel what the food is doing to me. When you're not eating right, I never paid attention to it before. I fed off of emotion. I fed off of, I was just so comfortable in it, and I gave in, and it just felt that addiction. Somebody shared in a group the other day. Sister Kimmy, you shared in the other day about the addiction. The I have to go back and share that. It just it just shook me, and I had to sit in that and process it and really look at that. And I have to step up and face that and really, what can I say? Embrace it. I have to nurture it, and I have to nurture it away, if that makes sense. And I still have to process that. I still have to sit and process and think about what I'm saying right now, and really understand. I have to go deeper with that, but I have to go back and look at those slides and even listen to me speak and sleep on it, meditate on it, and I really give thanks for the class today because it was really on time. And I'm just grateful for you all. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Okay, we're grateful for you as well. It's only on time because you right where you need to be. Next up, Freedom. Minister.
Peace, instructor.
Peace.
Man, I would say I came in kind of late. I was kind of had some stuff going on with the family, but man, I would say great class, man. You made me want to put the press on. I know I had to put the press on finishing up this the white crank joint so that I can get on into that one. However, man, I appreciate the jewels, man, and the time, instructor. It was really insightful. The bit that I did catch in the diagram that you was going through in regards to the chi path, it'll always be good to kind of see different visuals and different understandings to the things that y'all teach on the floor. So it was really insightful, you know, to kind of hear some of the understandings, like philosophical and spiritual and inner understandings of what we teach and what we practice, man. So I appreciate the instructor. Okay. I look forward to catching the beginning of it, man. I pardon my tardiness too.
Oh, brother, no worries. Okay. Mr. Bradley Marquise.
Peace, instructor.
Peace.
I'm very honored for today's lecture. I got a lot of notes. I didn't get to start this book. I was starting the other book that the instructor gave first. So I really enjoy all the information, and I can't wait to tap into this book as well, as Minister Freedom said. I enjoyed it, the three cheese. That was new to me. And also I love the correlation with the anatomy and the chi. Touching on the anatomy, I'm not really big on the body parts of the human body part. So the information that you gave was very insightful for me. Also, I love what you said about the goal, the universe, the universal systems to keep the body. To take care of the body and the physical, to utilize the spiritual plane. That was very deep, impactful for me as well. As far as today's lecture, I'm honored and I'm thankful for it.
Okay, we appreciate you, brother.
You're welcome.
Rada, you out there?
She put in the chat that she'll be on mute, instructor.
Okay. Okay, Rada. Next R is Raynell. Sun Ray.
Peace, everybody. This class was really, really insightful. I got a lot from it, per usual with all of the classes, but I really agree with some of the people said earlier. That stood out was the thinking about posture and just the way that we physically carry ourselves and how that has an impact on the message that we present, the energy that we give off. Like when you showed made that comment about how some fighters stand and it kind of looks like they're anxious, or it shows up in the way that they fight and all of that energy. And I remember actually recently talking to you, I think it was earlier this week, instructor said, when I was saying that in the day I have to catch myself and relax my shoulders because I'll just be tense and carrying around that kind of just unaware of where a lot of stress is being harnessed. And when I am not cognizant of that, I go through a day and just feel really drained. And it's not until I sit down, I'm like, oh, wow, I have just been very tense. Or if I think about when, how I feel when my leg falls asleep, if I've been sitting on it for a while, and it's like that fuzzy feeling is literally energy being blocked because you're just not letting it flow through you. And it's that was the first time I kind of connect what exactly is happening when your limbs fall asleep and you can literally feel that buildup. And so it made me think, how can I become more present of feeling and connected with that energy without it having to be a block for me to know that it's there? Like, can I get in tune with that and notice more subtle appearances, or notice more subtle indicators that there's a block or there's stress without it having to be like numbness or that limb falling asleep. So it definitely made me more aware and want to learn more internally about the messages that my body is sending me and just be more connected with myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. I appreciate that. Okay, Taj.
Peace, family. Thank you, instructor, for today's lesson. It was really great. The thing that stuck out the most to me, well, I think that was most intriguing when you were talking about the immortal fetus. I've never heard that perspective before, or even put in that wording. So it was really, I'm really intrigued by that, and I really want to know more about it. Or just, I love the metaphysical part of our teachings, of the teachings that you all present to us. And I'm just glad we talked about breathing, because breathing helps me stay present when I'm overthinking in my in the dojo, or even just being out of it, just practicing my breathing and things like that. So I'm just really grateful for today's lesson.
All right, we appreciate you. Next up, Terrence.
Peace and love, instructor, and everybody else. I just want to say today was real. It was a nice class. It was actually real cool to log on today, because today was the first day in a while that I actually revisited the Iron Shirt book, and reading it brought back some memories, and it helped me like fine tune some details in my breathing exercise that I'd be missing. So that was real cool. And then the notes, the chi systems really caught my attention. The heavenly chi, the heavenly man chi, that really caught my attention. And learning on that is gonna be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I'm fine. Everything else is good. I gotta get the I'm gonna wait for when we expand on it, but the 7 got the names. I didn't get to write down the names. What were they called? The 7, it was like rootedness, chi pressure, energize, fascia. But yeah,
okay.
It was a lot of writing. That's my downfall. But it was a great class, and I appreciate it.
Okay, I appreciate you. So you need those other ones. You said rootedness, chi pressure, the energizing fascia.
Yeah, I need 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, 4 is vital energy, increasing the vital energy.
Okay.
Tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop it in the chat real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's in there.
All righty. Appreciate you, instructor.
There it goes. Yes, sir. Teresa.
Peace, family. This is right on time for me because I just started reading the book, The Iron Shirt, and there is a lot of information in there. So it can be overwhelming. This is breaking it down for me, and I appreciate the time that you took to break it down and bring in different examples of everything. And I plan on working on the practices in the mornings. It's like a daily setup, and it advises to maybe start like 15 minutes at a time, not to just overdo it, trying to do everything. And it's just you learning a little bit at a time. And I had I guess the tapping, or like when you hit your stomach and your back, and I believe that's the release the toxins or get the energy flowing. And then there's that's something I had a question about, the what you call grounding, when you put your feet outside on the ground, and to re-energize, I guess, recharge yourself versus when you're inside and when you standing and you're doing a microcosmic orbit or any of the other stances and you stand to get rooted. So, and my thought was, I thought you couldn't get that from inside because of the floor and the concrete and all of that. And so, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I come to the conclusion that you get that rootedness gives you a foundation for balance, which allows that energy to flow better through whichever movements you're doing. So to be rooted allows the energy to flow. And I feel like it's the same thing as being grounded. You still get a charge. So that was just something that came to mind and I was thinking about. And that's it. I'm just looking forward to learning more and hopefully getting out there in the end of March, I believe.
Okay, we look forward to that. Getting you up here on the floor.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Teresa.
All right, thank you.
Okay, who we got up next? Is Nate still on? Nope, I think Nate dropped off. Oh, nope, there you go, Nate. Yep.
Yeah, I'm still here. Cool. I've said a lot of what I wanted to say already, but I do have a couple more things. You gave us 4 words at one point: discipline, skill, gather, and energy and time. And when you gave us those words, it came to me like a little phrase: the discipline to utilize the skill to gather the time and energy. Kind of came to me. And we can manufacture time. Chief Instructor does it all the time, and he has to with his condition, but it has to do with efficiency. And that efficiency is how you actually manufacture that time. And that is a powerful place to be. Also gathering that energy as well, because when you're being efficient, you're utilizing your energy properly. So therefore you're not wasting any of it. It's going where you need it and nowhere else.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and then the other thing was, I heard mention of the electrical field and our bodies being batteries, but honestly, it goes even further than that. When I was younger, I learned a technique through meditation and focusing on my mind, where I actually discovered where the electrical generator is in my brain. And I could actually like make it crank up or go faster, if you will, actually raising the electrical current in my mind. And then I could like shoot it through different places in my brain or in my body. And actually, I've been electrocuted a few times, and it's what's actually kept me safe, because I developed my electrical current, that part of my fascia or chi, if you will, so that I could actually handle that current or that overload. And I actually had like burn marks where the electricity went in and like exited my body. And that usually kills most people. But I just found that fascinating. I've actually talked to the chief instructor about it too. And he said there's another one like at the base of our spine. And I told him I got to the point where like I could set off a little electrical charges, or I could grab you and you feel like, like a current, if you will. But he told me that I didn't need to work with it anymore at that point. So if you do discover where that is within you and start to, work with it, when you get to that level, know that you've gotten to a place where you're good and you don't really need to play with it anymore. It's like the beast within. Once you know that beast is there and you can tap it, like you don't have to mess with it at all. It will always be there for you. You don't have to play with it or develop it. Like that is a powerful practice.
Wow, you're a bender over there, Nate. It's another level. So what we got here? Is Ghost still on there? Ghost out of here. You cool? What you got? Is he still on there? Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Instructor, phenomenal class, man. Just phenomenal, brother. In your true fashion, man, you are so efficient and direct and succinct in your delivery, but yet powerful. Not to belabor it, man, but it's just the discipline, the lifestyle, the community, the education, the practical application, the ability to take these lofty concepts that we were not reared or raised to be connected to, but to bring them down and make them practical. And it's just such a blessing to be living it and to be conscious of it, and to have the space that we have to really test it and court it and create and grow relationships with discipline, with power, with the universal energy. The Marshall platform is, I don't know where or how, what could be a better way to develop utility with it. And then we carry it into the virtual dojo. So it's just it's a complete system. It's a complete, what does Instructor Bond say? World-class training and instruction. I mean, it just truly is. But the inner workings of the lesson, one thing that resonated with me is how it's all true. You know, in life and on the planet, you know, when it comes to limitations, when people put limitations on God, they put limitations on the truth. And to be able to, you know, look all around us and, like you said, use the word modalities, but to be able to draw from different cultures, different time periods, different modalities, and just to be a whole and complete person, absent of fear and prejudice, which allows us to absorb and observe. And the more you open and observe and absorb, the more you get acquainted with the Almighty. And then to be able to embrace it as self and not have it set apart from you as this lofty goal that you can't reach. It's just so much, man. And I could talk for 30 minutes and I'm not gonna do that. But the bottom line, man, phenomenal class, Instructor. I can't wait for the second week. And just thank you for continuing to make this real and to take it out of this spooky place or this overly complicated place where we get caught up in, well, I don't know what that means, or, you know, we just get caught up. And then one other piece is interesting. While I was sitting here, you know, being conscious of my posture, sitting here, being on purpose about my intake in regards to my veggies and, you know, my trail mix. But I was sitting here basically meditating, sitting upright, but I was rubbing my hands on my thighs, you know, just, you know, subconsciously doing that, and just the energy. And when I got present to the energy, it just shot all through my body. Oh, and one other thing, as we continue up the path, as I am personally continuing up the path in meditation, to be able to have begun to really become acquainted and have connection to these energy centers, like the sacral pump and the cranial pump, and, you know, embracing the tree. And I'm beginning to get that flow up through the bubbling springs and actually feel it make its way up the body. But then when we get, you know, into directing the energy, directing the breath, you know, like this morning with the throat, but to feel it expand, to then direct it down the arms, you know, at this point, I do not have that, you know, like electrical charge jumping across the fingers. I know it's happening, but I can't feel it as of yet, but it's going to be a good benchmark to, you know, of development. But I say that just to say when I get that breath in, pack it, hold it, or whatever I'm doing, like the frequencies. This morning I was kind of aligning my inhale and exhale with the pattern and the frequency that we were listening to. But saying all that to say that on the exhale and then the soft inhale, how you can literally feel the cerebral spinal fluid around the cranium. I can literally feel it, you know, you can feel it all down my neck, up my back. And right now I got goosebumps just thinking about it. So I'm just saying that it is such an awesome place. And as I say this, for anybody that is yet to experience these things, trust and believe that staying the course, following the instructions, and just being on purpose, it will happen. So do not rush it. Do not get frustrated. Do not compare your place to somebody else's place. And Sister LaKenya, even again, back to the back piece and the spine, the energy is all pervading. Like it's not only all in you, it's all around you. So it doesn't matter whether it's a crooked or it's a curve or whatever. That is not even anything to get caught up on. The energy is there. And it's just a matter of you continuing to court it, and it will serve you and probably heal you, like Instructor said. So I'm not gonna talk no further, man. I love you, I appreciate you, bro. You laid it down quite flat, man, and I can't wait for next week. So thank you, appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother. Sure. Shoot North, what you got?
Peace, peace. Yeah, excellent class. Thank you. I appreciate this. And kind of what I was present to is the fact that two things. So the first thing I was present to is how active a process meditation is. So it's like, you know, a lot of times when people, they meditate and, you know, we have commentary about meditation, a lot of the commentary is like, oh yeah, it was relaxing, and you know, it's like that. So a lot of times based on people's commentary, it kind of tells you where they are as far as the knowledge about energy flow, chi flow, energy movement is concerned. So it just kind of added another layer of, you know, how important meditation is and how all roads lead to meditation. Absolutely. And the second piece is, you know, veggie backing on what Instructor Aku said about how this discipline is the perfect vehicle for our training as human beings on planet Earth, ascending up the ladder towards, you know, universal consciousness. And you know, where else are you gonna not only get this knowledge and information to be able to utilize in everyday life, but the ability to practice it as well. And to me, that's the part of how we differ from a lot of other, you know, schools of thought and ideologies and all of that, is that we have the ability not only to learn it intellectually, but to actually apply it in real time and get feedback to say this worked, that didn't work. And, you know, not just as far as the energy work, but ego, power generation. Like, you know, we just have a lot of things that we can learn and also practice in real time. And this class just kind of brought those two things to the forefront. So excellent class. Thank you again, and definitely looking forward to next week.
All right. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Last but not least, Dr. Bones.
Man, said, it speaks to, man. See how you just got me speechless, brother. They all talk. It's just speaks to what Instructor Aku talked about, a world-class instruction. And what Instructor North talked about, that, you know, you can hold a clean glass up to a dirty glass and tell which one you want to drink out of all day, you know, without question. And it's like, man, still sharp and still all day. And these series of lectures that you brothers have been dropping is just humbling. And I got to come behind all of this shit. I got it like, cause when I text and say, well, man, what's the subject on? And Microcosmic Orbit, I was like, oh God. You know, it's just humbling, and it just speaks. A couple of things that stood out to me is when you said, man, I never really thought about this. I did it instructionally, but I never thought about, I was never conscious to the fact as to why I do this or why we teach the things that we do. And you brought that to mind, because when Master Jawad put this on me to add this text to the actual curriculum of the 36th chamber, he put on me to bring about a meditational practice that we can all study, that was absent of heavy religion. So the Iron Shirt, out of, you know, the research that I had done, was the best book out there available at the time. And it's still holding true to the test of time. Just in listening to you teach it, and I was like, man, it's still holding true. And approaching it with an empty cup, in that initially I was charged with bringing it forth, and then listening to you, I'm learning something too. I'm like, man, you know, because a couple of things stood out to me. It's like, man, you said good body conditioning allows the building of immortal spirit. And someone else said that was like a standout to them as well, as for use on the higher spiritual plane, which is what we talk about all the time in Embracing the Tree. And as you added earlier, you said, well, man, Embracing the Tree is only one practice. There are 8, you know. So, you know, what was the reason and what was the rationale for bringing Embracing the Tree out of all of those practices, you know, out of all those 8, why Embracing the Tree? And you hit on it simply. It's for the structure and the development of the chi belt, as well as developing a relationship with chi flow. The best way to do that is through the embracing of the tree, because it allows you to trace and follow chi throughout the entire body. And it's how you develop and establish a relationship with chi and how it's moving through your body. And also Embracing the Tree is closest to our fighting position. So that's why Embracing the Tree was teased out of the other 8 postures. I believe I have taught the Golden Urn, which is another one of those practices, but I haven't taught it, whole school, just a few. I think I had like a little breathing sector that I taught that on, but nonetheless, that's why Embracing the Tree was teased out of all of the 8 postures. Another thing brother, that you brought me conscious to is how personal this particular teaching was to me, because Master Jawad actually used this to help me with my breathing problems. As I don't know if all of you know, or especially if you trained with me early, I know you know this, Cedric, that I had some serious challenges with asthma, especially during my early training. And Master Jawad was, key in helping me gain mastery over that aspect of my breathing, using this text, using Iron Shirt, Qigong, and these breathing techniques. So it was kind of like a personal thing for me, and in that it was used first to infuse in the 36 chamber curriculum. Second, Master Jawad actually used it to help me with my breathing situation. So man, again, great, just excellent, brother. I am looking forward to learning more because again, you made me think about why, why these things were brought to the forefront. So brother, man, it's gonna be quite a challenge to follow you, brother. Thank you.
All right, brother. I know you up to that challenge.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to be, brother.
Yeah. That's closing us out. I appreciate everybody, especially the was it 20 people who hung on to the end.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You had 31 on the call, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get some rest, instructor.
Oh yeah, I'm about to fall out.
Yeah.
Thank you, instructor.
Great class.
Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love,
Great
family.
class. Peace and love, y'all.
There it is. Stop.
Peace, family. Look, peace out.
Peace.
You mount the phone right there.